All right, hey guys, how's it going out there? Let's make sure we have everything working. And yeah, as Daryl said, I'm up in Washington, which usually you think up here is where we get all the snow and the weather. And we did. It was funny. We were getting snow at the same time. But the crazy thing is that in Austin, it was actually causing problems. So it's been quite funny to look at this. I can look out the window and still see a few piles of snow that were from the plows, but otherwise everything is just melted away and warmed up. So we're doing just fine up here. I've had to step in for a few people and help them out with all the power and internet issues down there. And I'm even hearing that water was having issues. Yeah, Daryl, what's a plow? It has been funny. I was like, I think they were out there with backhoes and road levelers and graders trying to help you guys out in Austin using construction equipment as opposed to actual snow plows. So it has been amusing, to say the least, to see all this. So sorry you guys have had to deal with it, but there's Mother Nature for you, keeping you on your toes. All right, so enough of that, and we will be getting into questions at the end of this, so for sure. But the questions from the last time, I think I've kind of put into this presentation, so it's been a little bit different. We've refined it a bit, and we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, definitely excited. All right, and also we've changed the title because we kind of thought, okay, what is the purpose of this? And I kept kind of talking about the stuff, and the team said, well, hey, exactly that is what it is. How you made $2 million in a day using the Moxie indicator while other stocks were still snoozing. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And disclaimer, of course, we need to put this up there. We are educators. We're here to help, but we have legal issues, and there's the ICC and all that kind of stuff. So we're just trying to protect ourselves. Just don't sue us. We're trying to be good here. We're trying to have fun. And so if we all play nice, we can keep doing the kind of stuff we do. So let's just keep that in mind when we're out there. All right, and so why do we need a new class? And that's really what it comes down to, is what we are talking about is a new class, a new Moxie class. And we're doing this because we're really in a new phase of the market. I've talked about this in November. I talked about it again in January. And here we are in February talking about the next class I'm going to do and about this phase of the market. My first class was my debut for Simpler, and that was basically for kind of normal, good, bullish markets. We had it back here. My second class was after we had the giant bear market and we were trying to recover from COVID, and the market was very volatile and uncertain and different, and things had just changed. Like the personality of the market was just different. And I had to quickly adapt to this. And that was that whole class, be like, okay, where are we nowadays? What do we need to do? And now this class will be how to trade a hot and fast market, basically something that we either haven't seen since 1999 or the 1920s, something to that extent. And so we look at this is the S&P monthly. This is kind of your typical market. This was the COVID bear market real quick. This was the recovery phase. And ever since we pulled back, tested the monthly 10, we have been taking off like crazy. And one way to look at that is something like this. This is why we need a new fresh class. In November of 2019, I had a class based on my first $100,000 day, account gain $100,000. And last week, and this was even on a pullback day, I had my first $1 million day in 2 accounts. Now, of course, the accounts are growing, and so that's, the numbers are going to get bigger, but they're still pretty sizable percent gains. I mean, look at this thing, 15%, 22%, 21, 18, 18, 28, 22, and 18. These are account gains. And this is using, if you look at just the bottom part, these are just stock only. And I was getting a 28% account gain on stock only, 22% account gain on stock only. It's like, it didn't even matter that I was trading some options in some of these bigger accounts, because my stock ones actually did better that day. So that's why I really stick to my guns and say, hey, I'm really just a stock trader. If you're going to be trading some options, I just do calls. So there are some really, really strong moves out there. And all of this is actually while the market pulled back on this particular day. And kind of going back to we haven't seen this in a long time. The only comparison might be the 1920s or the late 1990s, but most of us don't actually know what it was like to trade that like then. I mean, I certainly wasn't around for that, at least not in this capacity, but we are living through this one. That's really the big difference. You guys are coming here to us to learn how to trade, to be part of this market. And so what if you maybe lived through the 1990 stuff and 1999 stuff? We're here now. We need to figure out how this acts. Things are different. Yeah, that was .com, but now we've got EV revolutions. We've got shop from home, work from home. We've got new technology. We've got different stocks that are doing stuff. We got to make sure we find all that kind of stuff. And we have a different Fed. We have stimulus out the wazoo. We have low interest rates. I mean, we've got all sorts of stuff that are a little bit different. And this is COVID. We're still recovering from COVID. So, we're trying to open up the economy. It's just different. It's still very exciting, but it's just different. We need to make sure we know what's going on with this one. And so I just want to make sure if you know how to properly trade and take advantage of a market where the small cap index is the one that has gone vertical. And when small caps lead, that means risk is on and pedal to the metal. I mean, look at this thing. That is the small caps right there. I mean, it has never looked like that before. But, and this is kind of the important thing. This is, oh man, in a nutshell, this is what separates kind of either my style of trading or where I have been mining and looking for good trades. This is the difference. The market may be on fire, but if you don't know what you're doing, you can still lose a lot of money because timing is critical. Picking the right stock and sector is imperative. Look at Zoom. It was the darling of the COVID thing, and it really, really grew. It really did. But you can't just buy and hold this because at some point they're going to stop. At some point they're going to pull back and they're going to rest. And so from ZM's peak, it declined 40%. You don't want to be hanging on to that. You need to know when to get out. And then you think, okay, well, I can always get back in or something like that. Well, you need to make sure you have the right timing. Like, what if you bought this thinking that was the low and price is going to go up? Nope, that was wrong. You ran right into the underside of that moving average. Okay, well, we try again. What about this double bottom? Try to go long in? Nope, that wasn't right. It continued to go down. These are the tricky spots. Yes, making money in an uptrend is a piece of cake. The challenging part is knowing when and how to get back into something and when it is here. Now, I've been talking about ZM for a while. I have some people on our team that also trade this stuff, and I've been talking to one of them and said, hey, look, this is what's coming in. And people ask me about stuff like this, like Zoom. And I was able to call this, ZM just popped last week, and I was calling it a week early. And, the question is, do you know why? I know why. I have my rules and I have my checklist and all that. And I'm even looking at a second entry at this point for ZM. And these are the things that I'm going to teach you so that you can understand exactly this and find the right entries so that when you want to look at it, you can find it yourself. And of course, time is money. I mean, that's exactly what stock trading is all about. If you're thinking about just buying and holding because this is a really good bull market, it's not really the way to go about it, because just wasting 5 months, you could be making money elsewhere. Like look at NVIDIA. It went 5 months of going nowhere but sideways. There's nothing to do with this thing from October to February. It's only just now starting to move. But how are you gonna make money with this? Maybe you could do some day trading. Maybe you could sell some options. I'm not an options trader, so I couldn't really tell you for that. But this is not the place to be. And you don't want your money just hanging out for 5 months. Because while NVIDIA went sideways for 5 months, while Amazon, Facebook, Adobe, Netflix were all going sideways, I took a Roth IRA from 1.25 million to 8 million. You got it here from October. Actually, you look in October, it still wasn't doing much. When all this stuff started to kick off, it was in November. That's basically when the vaccine came out. That's when everything really started to catch on fire. And this is my point, that while NVIDIA went sideways, I was out here making money, and so were the Moxie people. So MCB, appreciate the good comments, but yeah, in the zone. And how about this? You got to find the right names. Referencing ZM. While ZM sank 40%, I was busy taking a $700,000 account and growing it to 5.5 million. That's a 785% gain in basically 4 months. And now this isn't even my money. This is my family's money, which I've talked about many, many times before, that when the whole COVID thing happened, I looked at this and said, this is ridiculous. Like, nobody's at the helm. Why can't they move the money and put it in someplace safer or be prepared for this or whatever? There was no benefit to having our family money in with a firm of some sort. It's just a general firm that you think, okay, I'm going to let them invest my money and do this. You're paying them for basically nothing. I might as well put all the money in the S&P because it tracked it on the S&P. And so what it is, I took their money and said, let me trade it because this is literally what I do for a job. And my sister was saying, hey, TG, Dad said you rocked it to get in the market today. Thank you so much for allowing us to not only not have to worry about her earning money right now because work is so slow, but enabling us to move forward with being able to put Ridley, their daughter, in a private daycare preschool next year that will challenge her and foster her. We owe you a lot. So as I said, this isn't even my money. So this is, I'm just doing this for my family and making sure that we all help out, because it's not every day that a family member has somebody in the market like the way I do. So 700,000 to 5.5, that's been pretty good. And looks to me like it's kind of been growing exponential. So we'll see where that keeps going in time. And then the way to my method, and I think this is really beneficial to a lot of the traders out there who, don't want to be stuck to the screen time all the time. They think about like, okay, what does it mean to be trading? And okay, I got to be at the computer all day and I have to day trade. Now, look, the kind of trading I do is end of day trading. 95% of my trades are taken in the last hour of the trading day. So number one, I'm consistent. Number two, really, if you're going to just move money, you just wait till the end of the day. That's all you need to know about this. So my process doesn't require you to be in front of the computer all day. And I think people like that a lot. And then talking about that Reddit stuff, right? We have been looking at the insanity that has been happening with these short squeezes and Reddit. And this whole thing has really been stirring up a lot. And I think it's a little bit of a paradigm shift. I think we're starting to see something develop out there. This is one of the posts. If you guys can go find it out there, maybe you can just search the headline and actually read this, or when the recording comes out, take a screenshot, read this. It is very interesting to see what some people's experiences are out there, and perhaps, talk about the democratization of trading. Like, it's free. It doesn't cost anything to trade stock anymore. We have things on our phone, on our laptops, on our iPads. Everybody's looking at the same thing. We're all seeing the same screens. This is really very, very interesting to now see that maybe we don't need the big people anymore. Maybe we can actually do this ourselves with a little bit of help of people like me, to where we're guiding you and we're teaching you how to do this. It's almost like how YouTube, and you see all these big YouTube stars. Like, I like to watch things about cars and machinery and computers and building stuff. And people are making money out of their garages because they're making YouTube videos, and they don't need the big TV networks in order to get someplace. And I think we're seeing the same thing when it comes to trading. The energy and the angst and the wake-up call that was this Reddit GameStop squeeze has shown us that the times are changing. And it demonstrated that we, you, me, us, all of us, we can invest for ourselves and actually do something about our own futures. And I keep getting a ton of emails from people, and I'm very grateful for it. But people who say, yeah, I'm out of work, or I'm just stuck at home, or whatever, and I turn to trading because, well, what else is there to do? Or I heard the market was going up, and we're making a huge difference in people's lives. It's amazing. And I feel so grateful to be here and being able to effectuate so many people's lives and really give back. So we now know that our lives and our livelihoods can be changed and altered very quickly due to outside forces. I mean, we're living through that. And Austin people are living through it right now. They're in the middle of that snow ice storm. But the market lives on, I guess, if you have electricity. So maybe that's a little caveat. But part of the online revolution from COVID is trading. We've heard work from home, shop from home, whatever. Part of it is trading from home. So we need to be aware of this stuff. And you guys are the proof. That's what I was saying. You guys are the proof of what has been happening here. Jason was saying, welcome to the club. You won't be disappointed one bit. You'll only be disappointed you didn't find Moxie sooner. Gus, nice talking about the P&L. Fiona, always love your things, talking about how she's actually trying to give a gift to herself and her kids. And I'll get to that a little bit later. But, I teach a lot. That's the whole point of what I'm doing here, is trying to teach you guys how to do this for yourself. And Chuck, always appreciate this. Moxie indicator on all the charts. And Vanessa, I speak for everyone when I say appreciate all you do. You're really a terrific teacher, and you give guidance on the overall market is simply outstanding. So thank you for that. And then I threw in a couple new ones. We took a little lotto trade on KNOS, and basically the next trading day, it doubled. So that was a fun one. And backstop, yeah, I feel pretty grateful that I'm here with Simpler too. So that was kind of very fortuitous that John and I happened to meet and run into each other one day, and now here I am. Launch control, biggest trading day of my career, massive turnaround in the count. That's the other thing. I keep hearing a lot of people say, I've tried this trading thing for a long time and I just couldn't get anywhere. And then I heard about your thing and I started to listen to you and learn your system and Moxie and all that. And now the whole count is turned around and now they're making money. So really trying to enable people to do what they've already been trying to do, but figure out the right way to do it and actually give them a process, give them structure to it. And Beachbound, yeah, great job managing trades and still helping those who are new figure out where we can still enter. But be wary, if something is free, what is the product? Probably you. We've seen that with advertising. We've seen it with other things. YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But don't forget, Robinhood, that was one of the free first apps, was on the side of the hedge funds and flipped the switch so that users could only liquidate GameStop while the big funds were free to do whatever they wanted. It was a coordinated effort to stop the short squeeze. So everyone's kind of learning some of this stuff. They're learning, we're learning, and we're figuring out how to get around some of this. But just be aware, if you're going to be trading, if you're going to be doing this, if you're putting your money on the line, make sure you use proper tools, proper metrics, proper education. And you know what? Maybe step up to a little bit better of a platform, whatever that platform might be. And Moxie is your plan of action. Like, you're wondering, hey, what are we going to be doing here? You need a plan of action. And I think we're at the beginning of a new era of investing. And I'm wondering, do you want to be a part of it? It sure seems like you do. That's why you guys are here. If you want to take matters into your own hands, I'll teach you Moxie, and you can hop on the next paradigm shift in the market, which is you guys. It's individual investors investing in the next wave of the future. We keep looking at the stock market and say, how can this thing keep going up? Well, it keeps going up because you're constantly churning the next new innovation. Like, I look at my account. My mom's always like, how can this keep going up? How can you keep making this money and not lose it? It's like, because I make money here, I sell it, and then I reinvest it someplace else, and it goes up and I sell it. The same thing happens with the stock market. New companies are coming in, old companies are fading away, new technologies are coming in, new things are creating. Like, just look at the crazy stuff that's out there that we're watching, which are going to be pulling our economy and our society forward in the next 10, 20 years. Electric vehicles, lithium and nickel for those electric vehicles, solar, this stuff is huge. Anything electricity and anything for the grid. We got to charge all these solar panels, got to work with all the solar panels, charge all the batteries, and then alternative fuels. Like, we really are trying to think about a green environment. We really are trying to figure out a way to make sure that we can still survive on this planet without burning fossil fuels. And power storage is going to be a huge component of that. Speaking of burning things, but cannabis, whether you like it or not, it is a thing and it's happening. So you want to make money off it? Okay. If you don't, fine. We got plenty of other opportunities, but something like that's coming out there. Crypto. Man, have you guys been seeing what's going on with Bitcoin and all that? Yeah, I'm sure you're feeling some FOMO, but we've been having a good ride with it. How about tech and semis? All of this computer stuff, everything that we're going towards, all of this technology needs semiconductors. So that's going to be a big thing. Online stuff, work from home, shop from home, trade from home. And then my couple of favorite things, drones and space. Those are some really fantastic stuff. And those things are where we really need to be making sure that we're emphasizing and putting our money in and keep mining that stuff. Now, a little bit about me, because I know everyone's like, okay, who are you? And you're just a guru and you've been doing this forever. It's not true, okay? My dad did bring me around, got me into trading. He took me to my first seminar, like something like this in Texas, as it turns out, when I was 12. I didn't know the first thing about it. I didn't know what I was looking at. It was a bunch of squiggles and Fibonacci whatever's on the screen. And at one point I asked one of the presenters kind of off the side, and I said, is this really possible? Can people really actually make money from whatever this thing is on the computer? And he said, of course. And he said, look, none of us were born knowing how to trade. None of us were traders, just doing this. Everybody had to learn how to do it. And if you can learn it, you can teach it. And if you can teach it, you can learn it. And that was one of the things that just really, really stuck with me. I was like, oh, okay. Nobody knows how to do this. We all had to figure it out. So there's an answer. There is an answer. And that really worked with my engineering brain. And so, speaking of engineering, I graduated from ASU Polytechnic with a manufacturing engineering degree in 2010. Then I sidestepped completely and went into finance, and I was a financial advisor at New York Life. And yeah, I enjoyed that. I was working with money and helping people, but it wasn't really where my heart was. And so I kind of went back into stock trading, and it took me a few years, but that's when I then created my own indicator, Moxie, and started a business with that and became the owner and educator of Moxie Trader. And then from there, I joined Simpler, and now I've been with them. So that has kind of been my background. And then as far as me personally, my dad and I are both pilots. In fact, both my grandparents are pilots. Kind of it's a whole thing that's been in our family. And being a pilot has really instilled a lot of discipline in me, because if you're reckless or don't follow your checklist, which pilots use, you can really kill your account and you'll have a bad day with your airplane. So pilots use checklists. And it's this checklist that has really helped me, along with the rules, get into some of these killer trades. Like we're seriously talking 200% trades on this. I mean, my record right now is 315% on one single trade, in just stock. I'm not even talking options, but that's me right there. My dad's on the left side. And then, because I'm mechanically oriented and I like this stuff, we do our own work on the airplane. This airplane is a kit built. It's made out of fiberglass. We finished it in 1992. We do all the work on it. And so I'm very mechanically oriented. And that is the approach I took with trading. And I still do. That's how I just operate. And I figured, okay, there's an answer. I just need to figure it out. It's the same thing of how I work on airplanes and cars. I took the skills that I have with flying and working on aircraft and applied it to my pursuit of the market. And I know that the stock market brings a lot of engineers to the yard. And so, yeah, we get a lot of people there. And I think my style and how I see things and how I teach it really resonates with a lot of people. And then just to make sure that, we get a lot of people saying like, oh, yeah, it's easy to trade a big account and big numbers. Yeah, okay. Well, at the beginning of January, like this year, January, a month and a half ago, I opened a fresh $10,000 account so I can demonstrate that I can trade big accounts the same way that I trade my small accounts. Look at this thing. January 7th is when I traded, put the first trade on, $10,000. The account is up it's actually kind of up like 100%. It's right around 20 right now, but 90% in 1 month using only stock. Not only is that my skill and my method, it's also the stock market that we have. This is what I'm trying to say. This is unbelievable. It used to be that I could double an account in about a year. That was kind of my pace. I just doubled an account in 1 month. That is the freaking market that we're in, and that's why we're talking about a new class to make sure that we can harness this stuff. And how about this even smaller one? So this was a $5,000 account back in October 2019. We added 25,000 at some point, but basically I grew 5,000 to 29,000, which is a 580% gain. And then from January 29th to, again, like this month thing grew at another 58%. So 638% in 15 months. That's whatever that was, but $5,000 account using only stock. I think anybody would be happy with those kind of returns. And then, so what got the accounts here? This is what I'm saying. It's not just me. It's not just Moxie. We are in an incredible market right now. I have been able to routinely get triple-digit returns on stock-only plays. They follow the predetermined Moxie rules and checklist, which I'll show you in the class, and everyone abides by. But this is what we're getting. How about Can, right? This is a Bitcoin play. We got in at $4.85, worked out perfectly. Then there's the Moxie price trigger. So even if you didn't get in early because of my skill, the Moxie indicator, the scanner would still get you in and say, hey, here it is. You better pay attention to this thing. And then this thing went out like a bat out of hell. And I got to say, I actually left a lot on the table. But leaving a lot on the table, I already got 165 and 222% on this thing. Like, what did I leave on the table, right? And then the lotto trade that I was talking about, the KNOS, a little bit of a COVID play. They're kind of a air purifier thing. I heard about it from another friend and kind of talked about this. And I just thought, the small caps are really popping right now. And this thing actually looks really good. I don't normally play penny stocks and I don't normally go this low, but I just thought, things are really moving well. There is some volume in this. The chart looks amazing. The Moxie indicator fired off right there. And I just thought, why not? Let's give it a shot. And so I said, look, let's just do a lotto trade, very small trade, 1% or something, which for me, 1% trade is a $50,000 trade, which my people and I are laughing about, the subscribers. But we got in here last Friday, 5 days ago or something. And then the news came about that it actually worked, and 134% gain in 2 days. It pulled back a little bit, but in 2 days, this thing's 134%. This is the freaking market we're in. All right, and then just a couple more things. You may get tired of hearing it, never do, but your view on the market makes so much sense. I cannot believe it. I was telling a friend of mine about Moxie, and as I listened to myself, if I didn't know better, I would think I was full of rubbish. The proof is in the account, and I'm up since January 1. TG wanted to reach out and say a big thank you for teaching and the service you provide. When I signed up for Moxie Trading Service, I expected to grow my account. However, this is far beyond my expectations. Most importantly, I have learned a ton. Again, that's the whole point. I really, really love to teach this stuff and really love to show people how to do this. Again, we kind of touched on this, but what about options? Yeah, if you trade options, knowing where price will or won't go. And I'll emphasize this right now because I was teaching people and I was talking, and my method was able to see that the S&P was likely to pull back this week. I even talked about it yesterday and the day before and said, hey, I think we're going to get a pullback. And I heard several people say, oh yeah, I went up here and I sold some calls, or I did a debit debit spread or something like that, and bought some puts. And so they're taking the lessons that I teach and using the Moxie indicator and the Moxie method to sell things and actually get money, income based off of options. Now, I don't do it, but I can teach people how to do it. And so that they're taking advantage of this kind of stuff. So if you know where price won't go, you can make money. And so imagine catching 20 to, well, it used to be 200, but now my record is 315% on a single stock, combined with option leverage. I mean, honestly, I'm hearing people say that they're getting, 500 to 700% on options based off my alerts and what I'm sending them. But Moxie and my method work just as well with options. I can tell you that. So as we kind of grow these accounts, you must adapt as well. You must grow, your account must grow, and your mental trading abilities need to grow with it. And this is the stuff I'm going to be talking about in the class on the 20th, is kind of how to handle this. I used to be trading a $50,000 account, and now I'm trading multiple $1 million accounts. And so your comfort with larger numbers just needs to improve. Like, if you're going to do this, you need to get used to it. If you're trading a $5,000 account, what happens when you're trading a $10,000 account? It's literally double. You now need to get used to numbers being twice as large. It's only 10,000, but it's twice as large now for you. And I'll be discussing some of the tips and tricks I use to cope with large size accounts. I used to trade 50,000. Now it's like a $6+ million account. And the same thing. How do you not panic when your account is down over $200,000 within an hour of the open, which sometimes happens with this market? How about last Wednesday when we got that liquidation break, right? And then learn how to read it like a book. I think about this, and I kind of been chatting with it in our chat rooms and when I present. But yeah, I love trading, but I may not always be here for you. And that could be in a few things. Like, I don't know, what if I retire in a couple of years? Who knows? Or what if I get hit by a bus? Not to be too morbid, but really, like, what happens if I'm not here? We need to make sure that you guys are taken care of, that you know how to do this, and that you have the right tools. That you might really, it doesn't even matter if you have all the right tools. You have the same tools, but you like following me. But if something happens and I'm not around, I want to make sure that you guys are at least left knowing how to do some of this stuff. And so the goal is for you to know how to do this with or without me. And in the meantime, you can subscribe to me and follow me so you don't have to do all the legwork, but at least you know how to do it. And we want to be reading the same book. And that's what it comes out to, is that we look at a chart like this and we both see, oh, hey, there's the Moxie price trigger and all the moving averages and stuff. And we all know what to do about this. And then we kind of know where to take some profits, and we know how to get back in, and we know how to take profits. That's what I want to show you. And I've got some really savvy traders out there who follow me and take these classes. Like, even professional traders out there, really good, are still taking classes from me because it's good to learn. It's good to understand what other people are doing and how to do this. We can always get more education. That's critical. As John Carter would say, if you're not growing, you're dying. And so own the tools and education so you can fall back on them. It's like a college degree if you're a sports athlete, right? You want to have something to fall back on. And what inspires you? Consider teaching your kids or your grandkids. My dad got me into this. He taught me what he could, and then I had to go from there. I have several traders who have their kids trading. John's teaching his kids how to trade. Teach your kids how to do this, and they'll learn something for a lifetime. As I said, my dad introduced me to this. Knowledge and education can change your life and your legacy. I think that's a big one. Your legacy. What are you going to leave to your kids? Knowledge, money, good account. What are you going to leave? But yeah, then here, Max R, 98% gain on just a stock. And we got in here from a trampoline move. And for anybody asking, I kind of see some questions there in the comments, but yeah, trampoline moves and price triggers are scannable. And you get all this with the class. So you'll be able to find these things. They'll show up for you, because that's always the kind of the number one thing I get is, how do you find your stocks? Can you scan for this? Yes, absolutely. You can scan for this stuff. And also my watch list. But what I'll be teaching is how to use the few simple tools. And again, few. I don't have a ton of tools. I just use a few. I like to keep it really simple. Tools for my trading style, and when to kind of fudge them due to a hot market. I actually made a trade today that I told my group. I said, hey, I'm kind of fudging this one a little bit because I think I see what's happening. And I now have 2 examples. Assuming this one works, I now have 2 examples that we're going to review in the class and show you why I was kind of fudging something and how it worked out. And how I incorporate 3 to 5 time frames to read the market like a book. Because if you're only looking at one time frame, I honestly think you're missing out. I don't think you're seeing the full picture, and a price is going to run into something on another time frame that you didn't expect, and you're going to be surprised. So I think seeing multiple time frames is crucial. and how patience for the right setup is worth the wait. Very much. I was even talking about that today. I said, when I was a younger trader and a little bit more of a hothead, I would see something developing and I wanted to get into it. And just because I saw something developing didn't mean it was going to work. And so I'd get in too early. And that's kind of the important thing. Waiting is actually pretty good and it helps keep you out of bad trades. And then the Moxie checklist, really, in all of its glory. I always refer back to it. I always tell people, if you have the checklist, it'll keep you out of stupid trades, basically. And the Moxie checklist is how I literally got the best entry on Space, Virgin Galactic, right here, down at about $24, right here at the Moxie price trigger. And then actually, again, maybe you talk about fudging things like, well, I could see that this was a trade on a lower time frame, and I knew this thing was setting up. And so, the Moxie price triggers here, sure, but I could see that we needed to get in early, and we did. And we literally got the best entry on that one for 110% run on that. Now, I got to say thank you. One of my subscribers sent me this. He liked my old school, my original flow chart checklist, and he actually updated it. So very, very thank you for that. I love my subscribers. You guys are great. We have great conversations, and we always talk about things, and now they're helping improve my presentations. But yeah, this is the flow chart of kind of my original checklist. Essentially, this is what it is. It's like, how do you make sure that you just don't enter as you run into something stupid? But the idea of a checklist had to be invented, and it was actually invented by the Boeing Corporation back in the late 1930s, because as they were developing what became the B-17, a couple of test pilots, excellent test pilots, actually crashed and killed themselves on takeoff because the airplanes were getting so complex that they couldn't remember all the things that needed to happen before takeoff to make sure you had a safe flight. They missed one little thing and it killed them. And so they went back and looked at this and said, okay, what do we need to do? And they invented a checklist. And I think it's good for humans. We just need to make sure that we don't forget something. Real simple. And that's all we do. And we apply it to trading. It's very simple. It just keeps you out of stupid stuff like, they did with the B-17. And then I want to make sure I pass on my experience. Maybe that's my legacy, is just passing this stuff on and making sure that you guys kind of see stuff the way that I see. And so what I'll be teaching is when to hang on to a trade and when to step aside. We had to step aside on a few things today. Totally got stopped out on a few things. Great. I look at stops as a safety valve. The market is clearly pulling back. What if it gets worse? We never know how big of a pullback we're going to get in the market. And a lot of times our individual positions will tell us how bad a pullback is going to be. And a lot of the stops were either profit stops because, we keep ratcheting up our stops. And so we get stopped out. Cool. We didn't lose money. We only gave back a little bit. That's great. I'm fine with stop outs. And then how to handle flags and how to get out and get back in. So I have one specifically that I'm thinking of that I want to teach you guys so that you don't get into a false entry, basically. And how to see when a market top is coming. This is what we're talking about. Even today, yesterday, I was telling people, hey, watch out for a pullback. And sure enough, we got it today. And then specific reasons when to take a risk off and when to then lean into trades. And this really comes down to market timing. If you can time the market, which I know a lot of people say you can't do, but I think that we here at Simpler are pretty good proof that you can. If you can time the market, you know exactly when to get into something and when to really size up your account. And then just like this week, when to start kind of getting out of stuff. Like, okay, let's start taking some risk off. And I've been telling everybody to do that. So WWR has been both a good one and a fussy one. They had earnings today or yesterday, and it just kind of melted a little bit. But we went in here, it went up, we held on to it. This was a trampoline move, which is one of my favorite setups, and that really worked out. Now we did end up, I think we took some profits off here, and then it just kind of kept melting down. It didn't work. So our stop hit, and we didn't lose any money on this. From our initial entry, we made money because we sold out at the top. And then when we hit our stop, it was still a profit stop. And so that's a great trade, even if we're completely out of it. So Sean, if you're out there, I always say thank you. You're pretty funny. But Sean was saying, I'm getting really suspicious with you. First, your elf shoes, and now the fourth time you're calling the top. And actually, we might be up to the fifth now. So you need to update this, man. You might be a wizard. Are you Harry Potter's cousin? No, but I do want to ride a flying broom because I think that would be fun. The pilot in me would just love that thing. But anyway, if you look here all the way back from January 26th, and I was saying, I am starting to get a heightened sense of caution due to the market's behavior and the UVXY building. I'm trying to be the best Sherlock Holmes I can and look for clues as to when something will happen, but I can't quite see them yet. I have to see how the market goes. And if things start getting too good, I may start pulling in profits. Now, this was January 26th, right there. This is when I was talking about this stuff. And then a little bit later that morning, I said, I highly suggest taking significant profits on names you have. This is me being able to read the market and say, something's going to happen. Can't quite tell when, but something's going to happen. And that's what I was talking about. I've said I've raised a lot of cash, and I've been saying that something's coming, so get ready. And then the next morning, right here, the 27th, before the market opened, I said, good morning, traders. Well, how's that for timing? Told you we would have to stay close to our trading desk this week. We took a bunch of risk off yesterday and freed up cash. I was very clear that something was lurking out there to the downside, and we were seeing it this morning. And that was this right there. So and you know what? The reason I can see this is because of the Moxie indicator and because of the method and how I trade. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm going to be teaching. And then it bounced, and I even called this top right here too. I said, we should be running into a top, and now watch for price to roll back over, and we totally nailed it. And I'll show you how to stick with the trends. This was a fun one. This was a freebie trade. I threw this out on the last webinar that I had. I compared the patterns to some other patterns that we'd seen, but SNDL. You guys know what I'm talking about here. Look at this next. This is what's happening. And didn't update the slide. I think it went up a little bit higher, but we definitely took profits somewhere in here. Yes, it's down here. That's okay. We took profits, and we are still very profitable on this thing. And that's how you have to do it. So sticking with the trend, we're still in this thing because it's not falling apart. That's what we're trying to do, is say, hey, we could be in this for a long term. You know, if you're looking at some of this crypto stuff, they are moving crazy, but can you imagine what they've done so far? And I think cannabis might be doing that. And so I kind of look at this, and I know people like to scan and stuff, but once you've built a pretty good list, why constantly search when you can trade what you already have? That's why a lot of times I don't search too much. I've already built up a pretty good list of names of things that are really doing well and really moving. And then building confidence. And this is where, not necessarily the fudging rule, but this is knowing and having the experience and relying on the Moxie rules and the way that I teach, so that when something like this happens, you can actually see through the clutter and be like, oh, I see what's happening. Because I didn't include it here, but basically the next time frame over here is the reason why I got into this. And I actually just finished building the slides for this one for the class on the 20th, so that we could do a deep dive on this. But yeah, when I was building a position in silver, I had people questioning me and kind of doubting me and saying, well, it didn't follow my rules. And I'm like, well, you know, you're not totally up to speed on the rules. That's why I'm doing the class, so that we can go into this and answer those questions and those concerns. And I'll show you over 5 reasons why I kept adding to my position. And then how do they follow the Moxie rules? I'll show you that. Don't overlook the details. And this is going to be a really great learning opportunity, because, you know, people are looking at this, be like, oh, I don't get it. Doesn't make sense. Why are you going in right now? It's like, well, it's because the time frame over here is telling me something, and I know what's going to be happening. And if you kind of, you know, picture all this, you can put together the pieces. But yeah, each arrow is where we added to this position. And I think we're still kind of hanging out up here. So this thing looks great. We're in this pretty nicely. And I was ahead of the Reddit crowd. You know, this was the big Reddit thing. I was already in before this became a thing. And that's what I wanted to show here, is examining some of these Reddit squeezes. Now, this was really quite the phenomenon. Really, really kind of crazy. But, and I didn't know, I did not know, and I did not expect that this whole short squeeze thing was really going to propagate throughout the rest of the market. We only thought that this was, you know, GameStop, and then maybe AMC, and then maybe a couple other stocks, but really it actually had waves across the entire market. I really didn't know that. So before we knew the true extent of the Reddit GameStop short squeeze, the Moxie indicator and my method picked up on several great trades, and I notified and traded several of them, only to be pleasantly surprised by the proliferation of squeezes that fired off. And we were already on board. Like, I had a live trading day, and I was talking about Fossil, and I was talking about some of the other things, and I said, hey, this is a good trade. If you guys are interested, take this. And that's what I'm going to teach you, is that because I can't trade everything, I can't show everything, and you guys always look at different stocks and different sectors, and I can't always do that. But if I teach you how to do this, you'll see that this is a really good trade. And for this reason, it's a really good trade. And it follows 100% the Moxie rules and the checklist. And we don't even know what's going to happen next, but you could have been in here, and then this thing would have popped 170% in 4 days. And then you get something like this. And because, gosh, I wish I could show you the testimonials. We can't use certain testimonials because of regulation stuff. But I had people telling me that because of my guidance of showing people why these things were good, why they followed the Moxie rules, and that they were starting to look ripe. And I think there's going to be a move. I had no clue what kind of move these things were going to be, but I was telling people about them because I can't trade everything. And so here on the 22nd, I said, I also covered Express yesterday and it just popped 30%. And with that, I grouped Fossil and Goose. You may want to look into them. And so Moxie and my method caught these without us knowing the why that was to come. And the why was that whole short squeeze phenomenon that went on for a while. And so therefore, all of the information we need is in the charts. That's why I really don't read too much news and don't really worry about this stuff. And I'll teach you all the reasons I covered this in my live session, only to then have Express pop over 800% in 4 days. And people were taking trades on this. Some of them were taking option trades, and they were making like 4 digits. Again, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I can actually say that because of regulations, but yeah, they were succeeding, having success with these trades simply because I showed them, hey, this is what the Moxie indicator in my method is telling me. That's the point. All right, so then how do we stay out of bad trades? One of the trickier parts of trading is knowing when to not trade and when to not enter. How do you not get suckered into a false entry? And my method on moving averages in the Moxie inverse trampoline are my best tools. So this is the inverse trampoline, basically when price is over the 50, but the Moxie indicator is still below 0. It tells you something's not right. This isn't the right time to go in. So yeah, the stock might go up eventually, but right now is not the right time. And that can be critical if you guys are trading short-term options, or if you just don't want to lose money because you don't want to get into a trade and then have it go down, only to then have it go back up later and you got stopped out. So a hot and fast market has certain characteristics, kind of like, up here and then has to go sideways for a while. And I can show you the exact entry which follows the consistent Moxie rules. And so something like this, MDB, great entry down here, shoots up, you should get out. And then look, it took 5 weeks for this thing to rest from the peak to the next entry. So what are you going to do for 5 weeks? You didn't keep your money invested with this? No. That's 5 weeks that you could be doing something else with that money. And if you know how to trade like this after I teach you and show you, then you'll know how to get right back into this thing at the right time. And then you've saved yourself 5 weeks of just this thing moving around on you. All right. And so that's what I'm going to be teaching you. And determining the differences. So this is one of the ones that I talk about fudging, but it showed up on a lower time frame of why I wanted to take it. But we asked, well, why did MDB take so long to set up again and needed a double bottom? But JMIA just needed a quick bounce basically off the daily 50. So we're going to be doing a deep dive on this one too. And there were actually 2 really good entries on this. And I'll show you why that I was able to call out both of these right here and right here. And we made a really good trade on that. That was a double dip trade. That was fantastic. And of course, sometimes they don't work out. I got losers. That's just the name of the game. You got to think about basically losses are just a part of trading, and we need to look at it like expenses in a business, And getting stopped out is a great thing. It means you were protected from something worse. Like XPEV. I got into XPEV, well, I don't know, last week, and I set a tight stop, and I was looking for it to do something, and it didn't do it. It stopped us out. So, okay, we got a little bit of loss. And thank goodness we got that because it keeps going down. Now I don't have to worry about it. It's totally off my mind. I'm not stressing. I'm not thinking about it. I look at it just so that I can look every day and see if there's an opportunity. Still no opportunity yet. But even with losses, I still have massive gains. And we were just talking about that today in my session. Some people were new to the class or new to the service, and maybe they took some of the trades that just got stopped out. And they're like, I don't get it. How can we make money if we keep getting stopped out like this? I was like, well, number one, the market's pulling back, so you're just a bad time in the market. And number two, right now I'm routinely cranking in triple-digit gains, and so if we have a few 5 or 8, even 10% losses, they're paling in comparison to the winners that we're getting. So AMD was one of those things a while ago. Took a trade here, added to it, it went up, it worked out for a little bit, but then the CEO news about Intel, and I guess that scared AMD, and so AMD just went straight down through our stop. And I'm very happy that happened because, well, we got stopped out here, and look what it did. It kept going down. So I'm very happy to get stopped out. It means I missed something worse. And then, talk about the indicator and all that kind of stuff. How many tools do we need? I've seen charts like this. I've seen really good traders have crazy, crazy charts. Honestly, I don't need all this. I don't need all of this. I like to keep it very svelte. I have a few simpler trading indicators. I have some freebie indicators. I got the Moxie indicator. And I just basically, if one indicator is good, let's just make sure we don't get crazy with all the indicators. So we need to make sure we get the ones that really resonate with us and that we understand. So you can definitely have multiple indicators because they do work. As I said, Moxie plays well with other indicators. People like to pair the Moxie with the RAF, or they like to pair it with the squeeze. They do work really well with other indicators. Just make sure you like the indicators that you have and that you understand what they are. But the Moxie indicator for me is clean and simple. That's how I like to trade. And it has stair steps. These stair steps down here are very, very important. It's like a picture says 1,000 words. These actually tell me a lot of information. That's what we're going to be going through in the class. Is like, okay, well, why? Why do you have the stair steps? What's that mean? How can I actually understand the importance of them? And then positive and negative. We got positive and negative area, which is important because you need to know, well, if we, trying to make a long trade or a short trade. And then divergences. Divergences are crucial because the Moxie indicator is basically telling you what's happening inside of price that you can't actually see with price. Like, look at this, price going down, Moxie indicator up. The Moxie indicator is telling you, you better watch out. If you're going short, you better watch out. This thing's about to turn around on you because internally, momentum is starting to shift when price is not telling you. And that's or if you want to go long, you keep looking at this, you keep looking at price going down, down, down. You see the Moxie indicator start to turn up. You're like, ooh, I think I want to get in on this pretty soon because why is internal pressure starting to go up even though price looks like it's about to fall off a cliff? So really important. And then precision. Anybody knows me knows how precise I try to make my trading. And I think that my precision, especially as a very mechanical person, really pays off in markets and making money. And then avoiding potential wipeouts. Actually, I just finished annotating this chart for the class because I thought this one was hugely important. Have you ever had a stock collapse and damage your account? I'm sure we have all been there. I've been there too. It still happens sometimes because we can't really help the news situation. But Moxie has one of the best methods for seeing that coming, and that is the inverse trampoline move. Like here, price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below 0. And in this case with the trade desk, Moxie was screaming for days to not be long in this trade. It was telling you for a long time, don't be in this. And this is the kind of beauty of the Moxie indicator telling you what's actually going on inside of price that price is not going to tell you. Like there is a sinkhole developing and price is going to hide it from you. Moxie indicator is going to tell you. And it works for the same thing to the long side before price actually pops. And so basically, why reinvent the wheel? Shortcut the years that I've spent studying profitable stock patterns. I mean, that's that's the whole point. That's why we have educators for any field. This is why we have coaches. This is why we have educators. This is why we pay money to people to say, help me get to where you are. Like, tell me all the things you've learned the hard way. And so now I can do it the easy way and avoid those things. So avoid the growing pains of designing and refining the Moxie indicator and the method that I've done. And then you guys also get to benefit from the work that I've done and the work that we've done at Simpler, building these scanners to find these price triggers and the trampoline moves to bring these things to you, to bring these opportunities to you. So that, again, when you learn how to fish, you don't have to necessarily rely on me. And then if you like what you've seen so far, my goal is to help you learn how to pick these precise stock trades without having to stare at the market all day. Remember, I'm an end of day trader. I look through my charts, but really I don't move money until the last hour of the day. And I think that really appeals to some people. Now, let me also just kind of throw in a caveat here. I get a lot of questions about day trading or futures or Forex. Moxie and the method works for all of those things. It works better on some pairs than others. It works better on some time frames than others. Certain stocks are very messy. Some stocks are very smooth. So of course, it's going to be better on some than others. But everything I'm going to be teaching in the class on Saturday, I teach for swing trading, but you can apply it to any time frame. Are you an investor and you want to be trading on the monthly, weekly, daily? Great. Take all the things I teach, apply it to those time frames. You're a day trader and you want to go trade futures? Great. You go take everything I teach and apply it to the 15, the 5, and the 2 minutes. All the principles are the same. All my charts are the same. And all the rules are still there. That is the nice thing about this is basically, one of my teachers said, it's fractal. It's fractal. You can break it up however you want. So don't think that this is only for stocks. Don't think it's only for swing trading. And don't think you can't trade something else for it. It is definitely possible. And so yeah, let the Moxie indicator find these objective entries and exits and use my proven checklist. Haven't changed it in years to target 10 to 315% gains and avoid those false signals, those inverse trampoline moves as much as possible. Starting in November 2020, which is recent, the vaccine news and a new administration, I realized we were in a new bull market and a very hot one at that. So I put together a class of all the things that we need to know for this phase of the market, and now I can share it with you. So if you guys are interested, we're talking Take It to Wall Street. It's a little riff on that whole Reddit GameStop thing. So we're going to be sticking it to the man out there. And we're going to be doing this. The class is going to be this February the 20th, Saturday. And then we have 2 sets of live trading. So we can do the pro, which these 2 days, the 2nd and 4th. And if you want to get even more live trading, you step up to the elite. And that's going to be March 9th and 12th. And that's where really you put the rubber to the road with that. Everything you've learned, you actually get to put it into action. And these are the packages. If you guys already have the indicator, talk to customer support. They'll make sure that you just get the class. You don't have to pay for the indicator twice. But if you guys are interested, never seen me before, never been part of this, if you just want to get your feet wet, get the basic, you get the strategy class, you get the indicator, you get the install session. We make sure you actually know how to install this thing and get it all set up on your computer properly, because I know we got new traders out there. You get the Moxie stock watch list, which is kind of an easy, fast way to look at your watch list through the lens of Moxie and see what's moving, see what's triggered, see what might be having problems, stuff like that. And then you get the Moxie stock scans. And then remember, 2 days of pro trading, you get that over here, pro. And if you want 4 days, you step up to the elite and you get that. And then, yeah, if you guys already have the indicator, no problem, come talk to our customer support. They'll hook you up a la carte and make sure that you get exactly what you need and don't overpay for anything. And then, I always get this question, actually all the time, ever since I keep talking about this. All right, you've taught classes before. You're teaching this one. I've taken your class before. Do I need to take this one? Is there anything different? For the most part, how I teach, the things I'm going to be teaching hasn't changed, which is the beauty. That is the beauty of what I'm doing. I keep saying I'm a one-trick pony. I've taught this thing. I haven't really changed my method, but what we need to do is we need to take that method. We need to take the rules, and we need to take Moxie, and we need to wrap it around this market. Because if you don't, you're going to get stuck in something like NVIDIA that's just going sideways. You're going to be trying to trade Apple or Amazon, and it's just going sideways. Or you're looking at some of these things like CAN, Riot, Mara, that are moving 1,500% in a few months, and we need to make sure that we know how to get in them, get out of them, be prepared for when they get too extended, when they're going to fall back hard. We need to make sure we actually get in them and hang on for dear life for some of these things. So, I kind of figure, well, reinvest in yourself. It's always good to take continuing education. It's good to see what the current market is like with these conditions. I'm telling you, this market is different. I said it before when we were recovering in COVID, and now we're basically coming out of COVID, or at least the market thinks we are. Things are different. And if you guys want to be updated and see what's going on right now and make sure that you can actually tackle this market, hey, spend a few bucks. I was even telling people today, it kind of dawned on me. I said, look, the market just pulled back today, right? I know my account's down. I lost a bunch of money today, or at least I gave back a lot of money. Did you lose any money? Did you lose $500 today? And if you did, then you should be willing to spend $500 to get continued education, to spend on yourself, to continue to learn and get up to date on this stuff. My dad and I spent lots of money going to seminars on tools to go talk to the people who eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. And that's kind of just what I figure. So, if you guys want to just rely on the old classes and call it good enough, fantastic. You guys already know what you're doing. But if you guys want to come in and get updated on this market, look, we make and lose money every day in the market. Might as well spend some money on continued education to help you learn and grow. So that's kind of my spiel on that one. But yeah, the basic package, make sure you guys know what you're going to be getting here. We're going to talk about the strategy class. That's that 4 or 5 hour class we're going to have on Saturday. You're going to get the Moxie indicator. You're going to get that install session with Duncan. He's going to be helping you out. And you're going to get the Moxie watch list. As I said, it's kind of like a color-coded watch list through the lens of Moxie that kind of tells you what's going on. And then you're going to get the Moxie stock scans that find the price triggers and the trampoline moves. And then, well, this is the class. I think the next slide. Yeah, so this is where Duncan's going to be helping us out. Friday, February 19th, the day before the class, there's going to be an indicator install session. Duncan's going to walk you through it. Make sure you guys know how to do this, get it actually on your computer, and so that you guys are up and ready to go for Saturday, so that when I start talking about these charts, you can actually pull it up on your own computer and look at it and maybe annotate it and stuff. And really, the Moxie indicator is responsible for my $7.25 million growth. I think I might actually be up to 12 million at some point. I think we've kind of retabulated this. I think I'm up to 12 million through my various accounts in basically 4 months. If you guys don't think we're in a different market, then my account is ridiculous, because that's the kind of market we're in right now. Here you go. Here's the Moxie watch list. So you can see here's like the Moxie weekly, and then we have the Moxie daily and the Moxie hourly. It's telling you if price is crossed above or below. It tells you, actually has a look back period. So if you didn't maybe scan every day, you can pull up this watch list through a bunch of names, and it'll actually tell you if the Moxie indicator fired up or down 2 days ago or 5 days ago. It's pretty good. I like using this thing. It's fun. So you'll get that. That's all part of the basic package. And then you'll get the scans, and the scans do 2 things. I have 2 different scans for different time frames, for different directions, and you'll get the price trigger, and then you get the trampoline scan. Those are the 2. Those are my favorite. You'll get them on the hourly and the daily. You'll get them long and short, and those are the directions. So you'll get that included. And honestly, that's how you find these things. If you don't already have a watch list, if you're not looking through something all the time, that is how we find these things. That is the #1 question I get of how do you find these things. And then you get me over here. Look at that. Very nice. I'm actually wearing those headphones right now. That's exactly how I look. And so we're going to be talking about this for the Pro package. The Pro package is going to be the 2 live trading sessions. It's going to be March 2nd, March 4th, 1 to 3 p.m. Central. It's basically the last 2 hours of the trading day. And remember, I'm an end of day trader, so this is really when I work. I kind of make sure nothing is falling apart in the first part of the day, but really, it is one of my rules is to not go in, do not make a trade in the middle of the day, because it's just garbage in the middle of the day. I can consistently rely on end of day trading, and so this is why I do my live trading at the end of the day. And again, I think that really, that consistency in time really, I think, resonates with people, because if you have a day job, you can be like, okay, look, if I can just take lunch and the last hour of the trading day and kind of work my day around that last hour of the day, I can trade. Fantastic. And I think that really works for a lot of people. You're not going to be getting trades from me in the morning or in the middle of the day or something like that. 95% of my trades are end of day. And then for this, since we will be putting on trades during that time, we want to make sure that you guys actually get them and follow along. So those of you who are in this live trading stuff, we will be putting on trades, and you will be nurtured. I will be telling you if we get out or if we need to do something about it or something like that, and you'll be getting these instant push alerts sent out to your phone, to your tablet, to your computer. There's a trading room that we'll be in, and all this be live and instant. So really, really great technology that we have. And so you don't have to worry about being at your computer all the time. If I send out an alert, you're going to get it. And then live trading offers the fastest way to make these tools your own, because you get to immediately apply them in real market conditions. I mean, think about it. You go take a class, and then you actually go get to do the thing. You actually get your hands on this stuff and really get your hands dirty. Let's get in there. And then hopefully you're going to be this dude. I mean, this dude is super pumped, super excited, and we'll see if we can make that happen. If we do, I think it'd actually really be really funny. You guys should send me a picture of like when you have a successful trade like that. I think all of us were looking like this dude with that KNOS trade, because that thing came out of the blue and it doubled. So that was definitely us on that KNOS. But for the elite package, you're going to get basically 2 additional days. So we're talking 4 live trading days. That's what, 2, 4, 6, 8 hours. And actually, it's probably going to be a little bit more, because I always go over time and answer questions and take care of you guys. But we're talking at least 8 hours of live trading with me. You might get tired of hearing me. I don't know. Or maybe my voice is going to be music to your ears. It's one of those things. But it's going to be on the 9th. It's going to be on the 12th. Same kind of deal. And we're going to be carrying those trades all the way through if you guys come through on that. And even, let me just clarify also, that if we have trades still on after these live sessions conclude, I'm still going to be watching them for you. I'm not just going to say like, oh, here, we put on some trades. Okay, I'm gone. No, if you guys took the live trading and we have trades on, I'm going to be managing them and watching them with you through the app until we are completely done and we've cashed them in or stopped out or something like that. So yeah, you guys, you won't be left high and dry or anything like that. But yeah, then once again, I think over here, yeah, if you guys are interested, and hey, some of this might be a little bit of sticker shock. I know we got people of all sorts out there. I always get people ask me like, well, how much money do I need to trade? The amount of money you need to trade is you need to be able to buy one share of a few different stocks. If you can do that, you can trade. That's all you need to do. And honestly, when I tell people that who want to get into this, I say, don't use real money. Like, get used to it. You're going to push the wrong button at some point and it's going to cost you. Learn your system, learn the method, get familiar with how to do this, do all this stuff, use training wheels before you actually use real money, because you're going to be real upset if you push the wrong button or do something wrong and you don't know how to work your trading system and you lose money because you just didn't quite familiarize yourself. So I always tell people, just don't use real money right away until you're comfortable. But so the whole point is, we have PayPal credit over here, 0% interest for 6 months. And again, hopefully the lawyers don't sue me for anything like this. But if we're not helping you be successful, I'll try and be choosy with my words here, but if we're not helping you be successful in the market over the course of 6 months, and you can't, if we can't help you pay for this thing, then I don't know why I'm still here having a job. That's kind of what I keep thinking. So this should be great. This will help defer any of the payments to kind of get in. And then it's our job to help you out there succeed in the market and make these investments in yourself, as far as the education, as far as the alert services, as far as the classes, to make this stuff worthwhile. Hopefully that was kosher with all of the legal things that we have to work with. So I'm trying to cover my butt on that. But that's pretty much what it is. We've got the basic, the pro, the elite. You guys take your pick. Talk to customer support. They'll take care of you for whichever one you want. I'm super pumped about this. I've been working on this class for quite some time. And I know a lot of people are very interested in it as well. So yeah, we're posting the links and everything. Sarah, if you got those questions, be sure to send them over. And then I'll start looking through your questions, because I know I've been seeing that chat just go crazy, and want to make sure I kind of bring some of these to my attention. Let's see. So could I go into more detail about the calls you did in those 2 top accounts? What delta, how far out? Honestly, trying to do option trading for me is, I'm just kind of guessing. Anywhere from a 70 delta to a 50 delta, and I always do over 30 days. I'm typically like 60 or 90 days, and I'll even do leaps. Basically, all I'm trying to do is make stock trading, but with a little bit of pizzazz. I want a little bit more exciting, a little bit more leverage, but for stock trading. I am not an options trader. I don't do option strategies. I just want bigger returns on my stock trades. And so that's how I gear my options if I do any options. Let's see, what kind of risk and success ratio do you have? I don't know, I actually haven't tabulated that, but I know my account says I'm doing just fine. And what kind of risk? I tend to put 5 to 10% of my account on any given trade. And then, well, can I talk a little bit about the methodology used in the Moxie indicator? Well, that's what we're going to be getting into for 4 or 5 hours on Saturday. So we will definitely have that answer for you on Saturday. Let's see, have you had losing trades? Of course. I'm curious if you get out or protect the stock with options in any way. I use stops, and yes, I have losing trades. I have losing trades all the time, of course. And I just get out. If the stock's not working, I just get out, because I don't do option strategies. So there's no way that I am going to implement options to protect whatever it is I'm trying to do. Either I'm right or I'm wrong, or the thing's working or not. And a lot of times I'll have to get into a stock 2 or even 3 times before it really works out. But yeah, I don't do anything with options like that. Let's see, how do I deal with gap downs? I cry in the corner a little bit. I think it depends on what's going on. If I'm profitable and it's a gap down, it probably is actually just coming back down to support, and I might actually add. It might actually be a buying opportunity. So I have to kind of look and see what the situation is. If it's a gap down when I've just put on a fresh trade and it's below my stop, I've had that happen. I get stopped out. I get stopped out with a bigger number. It's unfortunate. It sucks. but that's just kind of the cost of trading, and you gotta take it, because other time I get gap ups that work in our favor. That's great. Like look at some of the cannabis stuff. Those things gap up. That's fantastic. And then besides staying on the sidelines, can you use your method in a down bear market? Absolutely. Now, the behavior of a bear market is different. Down moves are different, but all the rules, the principles, the indicators, everything that I do still works and applies to a down or bear market. You sometimes maybe have to be a little bit quicker about taking things, because remember, some of the biggest up moves are in a bear market. So remember, because that's kind of coincides with a short squeeze. And then in my class, will I be able to cover how I manage multiple accounts so efficiently, what platform, and how do you set up? I'm not really going to go into that, but what I do, I just use Schwab, because that just happens to be where my money is, nothing specific. And how I manage so many different accounts is I take the same trade in all the accounts. So imagine if I'm going to go in on MDB, for example, if I'm going to go take a trade on MDB, I put MDB in all of my accounts, and I put it in 5% on all my accounts. That will be a different number, but it's all the same. And the benefit about that is I know that I have all the same trades. If I have 10 trades going, I have 10 trades going in 10 accounts, and it's all doing the same thing. So if I need to get out, I know I need to get out in all my accounts. All of them are the same. So I don't know if that's better or worse, but it's how I kind of keep my head straight and don't go crazy. Do I allocate the same percent of account to on a trade of a $1 stock that you would on a $20 stock with an equal setup? I do, actually. I don't know if that is recommended, or people say that that's great, but it's just my method. It's how I do it. Yeah. If I'm willing to spend $10,000 on a stock, I will put $10,000 on a dollar, or I'll put 10,000 on a $20 stock. It's just how I do it. You can do it differently, but that's just how I do it, and so far it's been fine for me. Let's see. When you send out alerts for trades, when do you take the trade? Before the alert, at the time, at the end? Well, if you're talking about me personally, because I am the instructor, because I'm the coach, I always get into the trade first, and that's not to take advantage of you guys. What it is actually to test the waters. I've had trades, and I tell my people this. I have trades that I'm testing, and there was actually a trade a week or two ago. I think it was Clove, CLOV, that I took a little starter position on my own. I didn't tell anybody about it, and I was testing it out. And then they had news that came out, they were getting sued or something, and that price dropped, and I lost money. And I told them all about that. I said, hey, I was actually testing this one for you, because if it started to work, then I would have made that a public trade. Then there was another one. There was some small stock. It had 1 million shares traded in a day. And I was starting to go into it, and I realized, like, oh man, I can't even get $50,000 into this thing, because even at market, it's just not buying it. Like, I don't know what the deal is. Maybe there's low volume, or not a lot of market cap or float, something. And I was like, oh, good thing I didn't make this a public trade and then try and get into it. So I always test the waters first. I think that is the responsibility of me as a educator and instructor, is to go first, basically to lead the way. And then where is the alert given? Yeah, it's in an app. It's in the Simpler Trading app. So make sure you have, if you're in the Moxie alert service, make sure you have that turned on. If you're taking the live sessions with the class, make sure you have that turned on. Let me keep, yeah, Greg, nailed it. Yes, you have the Squeeze Pro. With the Moxie indicator help tell me which way the squeeze is going to fire? Absolutely. That is why I do have the squeeze on my charts, and the Moxie indicator is exceptional when it comes to directions and timing. And so the squeeze basically helps alert you that there's the calm before the storm, and Moxie will help kind of get you in and tell you which direction and when. So yeah, Moxie plays well with other indicators for sure. Let's see what else we got here. Texas Tom, thank you, man. You should have seen my first couple of presentations. I was like having panic attacks while I was trying to talk to you guys. So now it's getting much better. I feel way more comfortable. I know I don't have anything to prove, and at this point, it's just fun. It's just fun talking to you guys. So yeah, getting these presentations better and better. I also do have a team behind me. We've got some really, really savvy people who know how to kind of get what I want and what I'm trying to communicate out properly to you. So this is definitely not me making this stuff in a vacuum. I got a really good team behind me to do the thing that I'm not good at doing. Let's see, what price range? Actually, let me change something real quick. Always scroll to the bottom because everything's going too fast. What price range of stocks do I normally do? Man, I'm kind of all over the place. You saw that I took a lotto trade. Joel Z. Man, I have a friend who is named Joel Z. Man, I wonder, couldn't possibly be you. Did you go to Brophy with me? Anyway, that's crazy. So what price range do I use? Right now, I don't normally go down to under $5 normally, but right now we are finding some pretty good opportunities down there. So I have been kind of dabbling down there. Most of my trades are going to be under $100. No particular reason. It's just I like that area. I've kind of found that higher price stocks, they don't move quite as much, but I am perfectly happy trading a $500 stock as long as the percent movement is good enough. As long as it moves, then I'm okay. If a $500 stock moves 20% pretty easily, I'll trade it. I don't care. Makes no difference to me. Kenny, yes, I do have a hard stop. Absolutely. That's what works well for me. Go look at EH, the ticker EH. If you guys look at that stock, you'll know why I trade with stops, because that thing went straight down in a matter of moments. And you may not always be at your computer, and you don't want to be just letting a position just kind of float around out there only to be having it implode 100%. Yeah. So I definitely do like stops. Yeah, I got that one answered. So Moxie is on Thinkorswim. Yep. We're working on other platforms. We're definitely working on them. But it's tough kind of building computer code, I guess. I don't know how to do it. I've had to have a lot of people. So Joel, another question. You said, does your indicator give alerts when the Moxie indicator is triggered? In Thinkorswim, you can take the scans, like the Moxie price trigger scan and the trampoline scan, and you can turn it into an alert. You can build a watch list based on it, and then you can turn alerts on that watch list. So it's kind of a roundabout way, and it's through Thinkorswim. It's not through Moxie. It's not through Simpler. It's through Thinkorswim, and it will build a watch list for you based on that scan and alert you out. And let's see, OP Guy, we do live trading for the Moxie service once a month. It's usually like the first or second Tuesday of the month. And then Wayne, how many trades a week would you say you normally take? Man, it depends on the market. It's been a little quiet taking trades this week, but mostly because the market's pulled back. But there are some weeks where things are on fire, and I'll start putting trades on a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, into where we kind of have a full boat going into the week. But I only take trades based on a good market. That's what I'm doing. So most of my trades try to be multiple days long, week long, and I'm not a day trader, so I'm not going to be sending a whole lot like get in, get out kind of stuff. I'll put on a trade, we'll see where it goes, and then we'll manage it. What is the minimum daily volume? Because I have so many people in my session, and because we're trading bigger money and stuff, I've been looking at stuff, and I solidly need stocks to be over 1 million shares traded per day, preferably a couple million, because we have a big following, and I need to be able to hide out in some of these stocks. How long am I typically in a trade? I would really like to be in a trade a few days to a few weeks. We've had a couple trades go about a month, maybe 5 weeks. It just depends on the market. It just depends on the cycle. I don't ever look at something and say, oh, this one should last a week or this one should last a month. I'll get in something thinking it'll take a few weeks, and before I know it, it'll be up 200% in a matter of days, and we sell. So I'm really at the mercy of the market for that. I'll also have days, trades that are as short as 1 day because I get stopped out the next day, and that happens too. I don't like shorting because shorting is a different thing. It's a different behavior, and honestly, in this market, trying to short, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make money on a pullback. And if you're essentially the market is going up, and all you're trying to do is find an opportunity for price to go down, you're working too hard, and you're really playing with fire, because you're trying to catch this little piece where the market or the stock is pulling back, and it really wants to go up. It really actually wants to go up in the long run, but it just has to get back down to support. And so there's no need to short anything right now. I personally don't think there is, and it just doesn't work for me. The movements are different. I can tell you when the stock is going to roll over and go down, and you can short it if you want. I can teach you that, but I just personally don't want to. It just hasn't really worked for me, but I can teach it. Let's see. Got all that stuff. And yeah, I think, well, I don't have a watch list right now. I just kind of tell people what I'm up to. I mean, it's an alert service. So if you're referring to the Moxie watch list, that is your own watch list. It's data. Well, it's the Moxie indicator kind of put through your own watch list. But if you're talking about my watch list, I just tell people what I'm trading and what we're doing there. And then how did you do with the March 2020 correction? Actually, I did great. That is what made me take my family's money, because they left their money invested with a typical investment firm and watched it go down with the entire market. My account took a little bit of a nick as all of my stops started to get hit. We kind of had to figure out what was going on, reassess, and then actually that was one of the few times I did actually take some short positions, because we were in a bear market. Like, I'm fully willing to go short, and I will trade short, but I need the market to be going down. And I don't just mean like a pullback. I mean like, we need to be in a bear market if I'm going to start trading the short side. So I did just fine, but it was shortly lived. I mean, we only pulled back for what, 30 days or something, and then we're back into a long. So I did great. You look at my account balance, it doesn't even show that the March 2020 correction happened at all, unlike my family's account, which was just bleeding. So that's the great thing about traders like us. We can just go to cash. Fantastic. Okay, well, I think that pretty much answers most of the questions. They seem to have thinned out, and I think I've done pretty much everything. That also brings us to about an hour and 20 minutes for the entire thing. I see that we've had a bunch of people support from Simpler helping us out, so really happy to have the team answering some of the other questions that we get out there. So do appreciate that. There we go. Fred, I know that there's seasonality. Hey, February is also supposed to be historically weak. And yeah, it is. The market is pulling back right now. So February, historically weak. I think actually March should be pretty good. But right now we're teaching the class, and honestly, we never know what the market's really going to do. So we can't really be too picky or choosy about when we're going to do something and when we're going to do a live session. And really, if the market just isn't conducive to putting on some trades when we are in the live session, I won't put on any, or I will actually tell you what to expect. So there is still a lot of education, a lot of learning. And if that particular day does not look like a good day to put a trade on, I'll show you some things that I see setting up and say, hey, here's what you need to look for. Here's what you're watching for. If it does this, then you can go in. And I think that you guys will know what to do, because I just taught you. You just spent 4 or 5 hours in the class learning how to do this. And then I actually give you some pretty good directions as to what to look for. Everything for forever is always recorded. Anything simpler is always recorded. You guys get it. You get to keep it. It's recorded. You get to own it. Yeah. And then, yeah, we are working on trying to get the Moxie indicator on other platforms, for sure, because we get a lot of questions. I know people love TradingView, and we got Tasty and some other things. We are definitely working on getting that stuff out there. So once again, real thanks to everybody. I guess I'm getting better at these presentations, so that's good. And we're just having a great time in the market. So we've gotten a lot of new people into the Moxie Alert service. I look forward to seeing you all there. And then for anybody who's also going to be coming to the class, maybe this is your first time, maybe it's not your first time. I know I have people who've taken all of my classes. I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. I still have to put some of the finishing touches on it, but I think you guys will be impressed. You might be a little overwhelmed, but it will sink in. I put a lot of information on there so that when you get it and when you own the slides, just because I'm not there teaching and talking to you, you can look at the slide, they're all annotated, and you can just look at it and absorb the information, be like, oh, okay, that's cool. And that's the thing, I can actually spell out and draw and write everything I do and everything I teach. And so I can give you a document that will live forever that you can look at and you can compare it to other setups, and then you can learn. It's really, I just give you so much information on how you can learn and work with it. So, all right, guys, I'm going to be leaving it there. Let's go get some dinner. Go have a good night. Happy Wednesday. And I'll see you later in the trading room, and then I'll see you on Saturday. So take care. Thanks again to everybody on Simpler helping me out too. And we'll see you Saturday as well. So long.